All right. Bobo here with BrassReel Brothers. Thanks for coming back for another episode of BrassReel tonight. And maybe, I guess we can call it like some side popcorn. Got Ryland here with me doing Mondays with Ryland. What's going on, bud?
What's up, Bobby? Back at it, man. It's going to be like Mondays with Ryland now, huh? I like this.
Yeah, I even put out a thumbnail, the last one, and it was just like Mondays with Ryland. So I think I'm going to just go ahead and just do that, because
yeah, man,
it's cool. I look forward to it. And it's a nice way to recap the weekend too, because most of the time, I will say this weekend, not a ton happened, but most of the time you get a little extra to talk about from the weekend.
Oh yeah, for sure. This was, like I said, a big release of Black Widow. There's a lot, like I said, there's just so much streaming going on now and stuff to catch up on. So yeah, it's exciting.
Well, speaking of, and both you and I saw Black Widow, and we'll get to I think we're going to do our spoiler review of that. But we're going to wait to the end, because one, if anybody's watching this, I don't want them to turn it off if they hadn't seen Black Widow. And then we wait to the end, we can kind of just finish it up there. But I did want to talk about real quick, your thoughts on the gross and the profit it's made, because F9 did break all the records as far as opening weekend.
Yeah.
And I feel like that this one, from what I understand, did break that record opening weekend. However, I feel like that because everything was back in action, does the pandemic still count as this being an asterisk movie? Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, should they have expected more than they got? Because they only got 158 million worldwide. 80 of that was domestic, and 60 of that was on Disney Plus.
Yeah, I think you nailed it with the pandemic. Kind of still is we're coming off of it, but people are just starting to get back to the theaters for sure. But this was also, to me, it's a Marvel movie. It's Marvel Studios. It's going to make some money, but I feel like it was a little too late with the character, Black Widow's character. But also, it's not as a big a franchise as Fast 9. I'm not surprised it didn't do. It kind of mirrored it, but it didn't just blow it out of the water.
Right.
You know what I mean? But yeah, I think this summer is going to be pretty good for moviegoers and cinemas. I think this is just starting to pick up steam, and people are getting comfortable going back to the theater. So it'll be nice.
Yeah, I'm definitely, I was happy with it, but I have to say, I saw Fast 9. Now, I did see Fast 9 or F9. I saw it at like 7 or 8 at night, and it was on a Thursday. I saw this one on Thursday, but I saw it at 5. So that could have had something to do with the fact that the theater for Black Widow just wasn't as full as the F9 one. It was hands down packed, and it was IMAX on both of them.
Yeah.
But I definitely was expecting it to be a little more packed, to be honest with you. I really was.
Overall, but, it's not a key Marvel character. If your Thors, your Iron Mans, your Captain, those are those Mount Rushmores of Marvel. They're going to, you have the average fan is going to want to go see that. Not that Black Widow is not an awesome character. I think she's amazing. I think Scarlett Johansson plays it perfectly, but it's kind of that second tier character, So I don't think it's going to drive movie sales like Thor: Love and Thunder is going to do, or
you're going to have girls going to see that just because of Chris,
and Natalie Portman. I mean, she's for the boys. So, but yeah, I feel like it was did about as good as I thought it would do numbers wise. I didn't think it was going to just be $500 million right off the bat, like Fast and Furious, but respectable numbers. I mean,
Yeah. So, but Fast and Furious 9, wasn't that like the half a billion after the week, or was that just the weekend?
Well, that was definitely, I think, it had to be after a week. I don't think it did crazy. I mean, it had to do over 100 million on the weekend, right?
It did really well. I'm just curious to see how long that time period was, and I should have looked that up. And I'm curious as far as when it reached that $500 million or $500 million mark. Curious to see what that time period was, and curious to see what Black Widow will be at by that same time period. You know what I mean?
Also, the delay, like you said, I mean, it takes away some of that anticipation. A whole year delay on these movies. I mean, how many people are going to still be interested in it after that kind of delay and the hype of it?
Well, with Far From Home, I that was so on the coattails of Endgame that everybody was so like doubly pumped up after Endgame, and Endgame was enough to keep you pumped up for a good year. But then to have Far From Home kind of following that up, being like, oh, we're still here, guys. And with Black Widow slated to be out essentially that next year, kind of, I feel like the casuals that were there for the Spider-Man and the Endgame movie, because Spider-Man is, you know, one of the arguably the biggest comic book character in the world now, not used to, but now. I do feel like that some of those people would have gone to see Black Widow, whereas now, like you said, those casuals aren't going. I feel like there were more comic nerds in the theater this time than there was when I was seeing Far From Home, where it was like all kinds of different demographic.
Yeah. And there's all this addition to these TV shows, the Lokis and the WandaVision and Captain. You're getting a lot of content now on a streaming service. We don't have to leave the house, and people may be satisfied with that. And I don't know if this is a little too late for old Black Widow. You know, I feel like this.
How many Black Widow parties did people have at their house where there was 10 people and they all chipped in to pay $30 to watch a movie? You know?
Yeah.
That sales dip there.
There's got to be a sales dip there. I've always, you know, when this streaming thing was started pretty much in December with Wonder Woman, and that's why I was worried about the numbers with that and how skewed it is. Like you said, if you guys are trying to save $1 or $2, you get your friends to come over and stream it, and everybody gets to see it. So I don't think they're really worried about that, though. I don't think that's gonna really put a big dent in the over.
Because I think at the end of the day, you have theater goers and you don't have theater goers. You have people that if they're theater goers, they're going to see the movie when it's in theaters. If they're not, they just will wait till it comes on streaming rather than, you know what I'm saying? So that's probably not a huge, you might have the 3% or 5% that's like, you know what, let's do this and pay for this movie, but they're not going to pay for every premiere access, that comes out.
And also there's the people that, like you said, the non-theater goers that would just have skipped it completely. It's really hard to look, click your Disney on and it's right there. All you got to do is hit a button. Like, how are you not going to do that? It's just right. It's so convenient. It's so easy. You're going to get those views that you probably wouldn't get. So I think they're doing the right thing. Yeah.
We'll just see what goes on in the future with this. Luckily, nobody's worried about this being a franchise or anything. It was a one-shot film. So, but we'll get into our review of it a little later. But banking on the next thing to talk about, and something that you and I had just talked about previously, was an upcoming movie with old boy Nick Cage, because you guys got that bracket coming out, or not the bracket, but you are doing the cage match. And we got a movie with him coming out called Pig. I'm curious to see what people are thinking about this one.
Yeah, I checked out the trailer a few weeks back, and it's being the ultimate revenge story. I mean, the premise of it is, you're seeing it here on the screen, and he's kind of a hermit. He lives out in the woods, and he's got a truffle pig who finds truffles for him. I think that's pretty much his only means of survival. And there's a little bit of backstory in the trailer that shows that he was some high-end chef or some crazy genius with culinary stuff, and he just was turned off by society and just kind of hermited himself into the woods, and then of course
into the wild.
Yeah, of course, the ultimate revenge story. Somebody kicks in his door and steals his pig, and Nicolas Cage wants his pig back, man.
Yeah.
So I love the premise of that, the revenge story. It's the John Wick kind of route. But the premise of it seems pretty cool, and anything Nicolas Cage is involved in that he looks like he's in it to win it, and it doesn't look like a cash grab, I'm all in. So
yeah, he definitely is doing, you and I were just talking about this before we started the show up, and just like with Mandy and Color Out of Space, and unfortunately Jiu-Jitsu, which you said was god awful, but yeah, he's doing these movies that like you can't help but be interested about a guy who has a truffle pig, and he's an ex-chef who disconnects with society, and somebody steals a pig, and he's like, I'm about to bust y'all's asses. I mean, I'm there just you telling me that premise, much less it having Nicolas Cage in it, which hopefully we get some crazy acting,
I mean, I'm watching the trailer, and I'm almost kind of giggling in the beginning, because I'm like, this is a real movie. You almost feel like when you see the title and you're like looking at Nick Cage all long haired and grizzled out, you're like, come on, is this real? Are they trolling us? Is this a real thing? And then you watch the trailer and you're like, okay, like this looks pretty serious. It's got a certain tone to it. There's no comedy in it, because you could totally just tell somebody the premise of this and it could be jovial, really. But
yeah, you can make it a movie like where he talks to his pig or something,
yeah, the pig starts talking and then you lose it. But no, it looked to me, it looks really interesting, and I'm just excited to see this man is still out there acting and taking on these roles. So
yeah, no, I think it's going to be great too, man. And I'm curious to see, are you guys putting it in the cage match, or is it too new?
yeah, we looked up I think the release date is mid-July or is it mid-July or mid-August? I think it's mid-August. And we usually do a stepping into the cage episode every couple months, so it'll kind of tie into that we want to do it when it releases, so it's nice and fresh, hot popcorn. And we always try to buddy up. We try to balance out that where it's a Nick Cage movie we know is pretty good or decent, and then a one that we haven't seen that we know is probably not very good. So we can beat one up and then we can praise one and make it a fun show.
Well, what a better actor to have that dual choice. There's no other actor that has equally amount of films and then also the equally amount of amazing films.
Yeah, he's got a hell of a career. I mean, it's spanning close to 40 years now. So there's plenty to chew on with old Cage.
Man, there sure is, dude. And I remember, have you ever seen the behind the scenes? I think it's the death of the return of Superman.
Yes. Where he's got the long black hair and Tim Burton's going to put him in a Superman suit and movie. Yeah, that was
right.
If you were an internet kid in the early 2000s, you were like, what? Like,
oh my God.
Yeah,
and then it was Superman. Like Kevin Smith is writing it. I mean, it just went through so many changes.
Yeah, that's a cool little story. And man, what if that had happened? What movie would we have gotten with that? Can you imagine?
I think we would have gotten the Whedon cut Justice League before we got the Whedon cut Justice League. We would have gotten something so just what?
Yeah, with Tim Burton behind it, and like I said, Kevin Smith writing. Oh, it'd have been right up my alley. I would have loved it.
I think it would have been, yeah. I don't think it would have been bad like the Whedon cut, but I think it would have been all over the place for sure.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, there are parts of the Whedon cut of the Justice League movie that I think are fine and they work good here and there, but as a movie, it's not a good movie.
No, I completely agree with you on that.
Like, there's even, I would even go so far as to say that there are certain moments in Whedon's cut that I wish would have remained in the Snyder cut. Not that it should have replaced anything, but there was a couple of funny moments here and there, like when he was zooming around in the Batcave Flash, and he was like, he's in the Batmobile for 1 second, and then he's over here, and he's like, I thought that was kind of funny, but anyways, I'm getting off topic. Moving on. Do you know anything about Blood Red Sky?
Blood Red Sky? No, tell me about it.
So I just found out about this morning when I was looking up some stuff. I'm just going to show you the picture of the first photo of the poster. So it's coming out on Netflix, and July 23rd.
Oh, what's that?
So
you
see
little demon in the reflection there or something?
So I saw the poster and I kind of thought the same thing. I was like, what's going on here? Is there something out there? But it's like, is it reflecting her? I was like, because I see the arm right here. You see the arm, and then I'll get to the other picture of that demon or whatever you want to call it. And it ain't a demon, it's vampire, which is her, the mom. So
ooh, vampire on a plane, huh?
Yeah, dude. You got to watch the trailer, man. And I'll just kind of tell you real quick, kind of like the way you just explained the pig trailer.
Yeah.
So this mom is on this plane with her daughter, and she's on there, and all of a sudden it gets hijacked. And it looks like it's not a foreign language film, but it looks like there's a lot of the movie where there are subtitles because it involves an international flight. So there's plenty of English speaking, but then there's people that don't speak English, which I like that. I don't like it when they take like old ancient samurai movies and they're speaking English the whole time. It's like that doesn't make sense. I'm not a foreign language film guy, to me, it's distracting because to me, it's all about cinema. I want to watch.
Yeah.
But if it's part of the story and it engages and it's like makes it believable, I like that. So, anyways, I'm getting off track again. This woman has just got her daughter. It gets hijacked, and you don't really understand why it's getting hijacked. I mean, maybe that's. I'm sure you'll find that out in the plot line. But it even shows this woman, the mom, getting shot and killed, kind of in the trailer.
Wow.
And like she's like, my daughter, and these people are like, someone gets killed, and they're just basically everybody can be cool, or what's going to happen. They're hijacking this plane. Well, then it shows the mom like by herself, and she's opening up her eyes, and you hear this narration behind her, and it's the mom talking, and she's like, so and so, I've got to do anything to protect my daughter, and she's basically saying, I've never wanted to do this, but I have to do this. And so she knows that she's a vampire. She's just always holding it in. And they're flying at night to begin with. Basically, it's like the revenge story thing we were just talking about, but this mom basically unleashes her vampire side, which she tries to hide so she can fuck up these terrorists that are taking the plane, hijackers, and save her daughter.
That's a unique storyline. I mean, I haven't seen this before, and I appreciate that in Hollywood these days because God, with all the remakes, with all the crap that's out there now, that's unique. That's something different. I like it.
I do too, man. And I got to say, Netflix is very hit or miss with their movies, and they're hit or miss with their shows. Honestly, I feel like their shows tend to be a little better quality consistently than their movies do. But
I agree.
Tell you what, dude, visually and horror, all that stuff in this movie looks really good, dude. Like there's some scenes where they show it's like this isn't just somebody trying to come up with a cool gimmick. Like somebody was taking these shots artistically seriously. So I got like really excited about that, and I had no idea about it until this morning.
Well, man, I got to check it out because if you're excited, I'm excited. I mean, if you like it, I'm probably gonna like it.
Yeah, I think you'll dig the trailer, man. I definitely think it comes out July 23rd, so we'll see, what happens with that. And like you said, dude, summer's here. So, I mean, I'm stoked about that. Last summer was such a weird floating feeling that this summer, it's just like, even though things are still not all the way there, it definitely feels, at least in the entertainment world, we're getting the stuff thrown at us,
I mean, I could do a revenge story about my life and what 2020 took from me last summer.
Yeah, dude.
Took the theater away from me. You took movies away from me. That's my life. Like,
it got a little depressing.
Super depressing. I mean, we're lucky and blessed. I have a stupidly large movie collection, and I can go back and watch old movies and be entertained. It'd be fine. But without that new, something new to chew on, for going on 6 to 8 months was pretty depressing, like you said, and not being able to go to a movie theater, not being able to do what I enjoy doing. It sucked.
When you realize the true addiction that you have, some people, it's like they can't live without. Don't get me wrong, I'm a gamer, but I can't. If somebody said you can only have movies or games, which one?
Yeah,
it's an easy choice. It's like, well, movie, but
And I'm that way with sports too, like live sports viewing. I'm a big Rangers fan, big sports guy. So it was like everything was gone, So you kind of had to, but then but also boredom pushes creativity, and that's what got me to start my podcast and do stuff like this. So some good stuff came out of all this, when you realize all this stuff's taken from you, you can go, okay, well, I can create some other things that keep me busy and keep my mind going. So.
We had our own little bit of it's the COVID purge. We had a little bit of a purge there, and I hate to I'm not trying to be comedic or compare it to people actually dying, because that's terrible. Yeah. But there was a little bit of a reset for certain people that weren't fully terribly affected. It was sort of like, let me take this step back and evaluate my life, myself, my ambitions. What am I doing here? And it did give a lot of people that opportunity.
Yep.
Well, since we were talking about Blood Red Sky being a new thing, there was one more. Oh yeah, this other thing. So did you ever see what was it called? It was the one with Zac Efron, the Ted Bundy movie, and I think it was on Netflix.
Ooh, yeah. Yes, I did. I didn't watch it, but
wickedly something wickedly vile, and
yes, it had kind of a long title, did it not? Like a whole
very
sentence
long
title. Yeah,
very long title.
remember seeing screenshots and stuff about Efron. He looked pretty good as, as Bundy. And I've watched the documentary about Bundy, the more actual footage of his trial and all that, and it was super intriguing, and can't believe what that guy got away with back then.
Yeah, dude. I
Until
mean,
he was finally caught.
it was a different time, of course, but it is amazing that, and I don't, again, not amazing in a good way, that he sifted, and it just goes to show you too, a lot of people weren't listening to women back then, which is terrible. Just people were like, oh, whatever, shut up. And obviously things have changed now. And today it's like nearly impossible to get away with anything. I mean, yes, people still do it, but only for a while.
Yeah.
It's, you get caught. I mean, that's just the way it is. But I tell you what, shockingly violent, or shockingly wicked and extremely vile, or extremely wicked and shockingly vile, or something like that was the name of it.
Yeah,
it was pretty good. Honestly, Zac Efron did a phenomenal job, excellent acting job. I think he's actually coming into like a more than just that Disney star. He's been in some funny stuff. He's Neighbors, he was funny in, but this, you did a, honestly, I saw Ted Bundy. I didn't see Zac Efron.
Yeah,
this just came out today. Do you remember Chad Michael Murray?
Yeah.
So I say today, it just came out very recently. I just found out about it today. So he's starring in his own Ted Bundy movie, which I don't know what, it is amazing to me in Hollywood how films can be so bandwagony as far as, okay, like remember when Armageddon came out the same summer, Dante's Peak came out. It's like, all right, this is the same thing. Yes, it's a couple years later, but it's like we just got something like that. I feel like how many different interpretations of Ted Bundy can I see acting? Don't get me wrong, documentary is one thing. To see more information, that's another thing. To hear somebody's take, another interview, that's fine. I can always get more info, but I'm not sure about this. I mean, I don't even know how great of an actor I think Chad Michael Murray is. Not that he's bad, but I never thought of him as somebody like, let's see his acting chops as Ted Bundy. What do you think?
I mean, Hollywood is so trendy, and they know that people right now, they're listening to these crime scene podcasts, and any of these murder type shows are just catching a lot of steam. People are so intrigued. I think they've always been intrigued by psychopaths or killers, serial killers.
I am for sure. I love true crime shit.
If you're a horror slasher fan, true crime is,
kind of the same thing.
Real life version. Yeah, the real life version of this stuff, and it's as crazy and wacky as Bundy's story is, it's so intriguing because of how many people were involved and how long of a time he got away with this crap and how interesting of a character he was. I mean, the man represented himself in court like a pompous asshole, he was so
like
into himself. He was the most cocky guy. But that's kind of the reason why he got away with so much stuff, was his personality, and he was so charismatic. So that, out of all the serial killers, Bundy's probably, to me, the most intriguing because of his personality. So I can see why these movies are kind of easy to write and easy to put out there, because there's a lot.
And he wasn't the don't get me wrong, what he did was terrible. But he wasn't along the lines of your Richard Ramirez, where he was like castrating boys and stuff. Like his was very one channeled. It was this woman thing. It was this dominating thing for him. Again, he was a serial killer, not buttered it up. But I think it's easier to make more of his movies rather than, after a while, there's only so much you can make about Jeffrey Dahmer without really digging into the really dark, this guy was eating people.
Yeah, exactly. But it's that's what Hollywood does. Once one little idea or something catches steam, you're going to get 2 or 3 versions of it.
I'm just surprised it's this guy.
Chaz Michael Murray. I know. I'm like, I mean, we'll see. I can check it out, but I think it like I said, it's Hollywood, man. They jump on these bandwagons so easily.
I'm definitely going to check it out. You're right about the bandwagon. It's definitely get a lot of straight to video stuff, but the way this trailer advertised it said get tickets now. So I don't know if it's going to be going to the theater or what. I'll watch it, but I watch everything for the most. I try to watch as much as, I always have something on. So if I might not like sit down and just be glued to the TV with everything I'm watching, because some stuff you don't have to, but I do that as well, though. I mean, I'll save the big things for that. But yeah, I'll see what's up with this. I just wanted to see if you had heard anything about it. So one more horror film, and I say one more horror film, but one more sort of horror-esque thing to talk about is, and you haven't seen this yet, but I'm so far enjoying it, and I just want to know, are you excited about this at all?
Yeah, I think I love that they're putting all three out in quick succession. You know, I think it'll keep my attention a little bit better if I could just really. I might just wait until they're all three out and just kind of bam, bam, and kind of just binge them one day.
You know, I
I kind of like that. That I like doing that if I can with TV shows. It just keeps me like kind of focused on that one thing and get. It's kind of like a task, like, all right, I got three things to watch. Let's get it done and chew on it and then see what I think.
Yeah, I mean, I would have been fine with these, watching them all three at once. I do think I do like anticipation of waiting for stuff, but I also like the binge aspect too. So I mean, it's kind of like I like having them both to be able to do, because
Yeah.
I do really enjoy the anticipation, but I also just be like, what, that show, I watched the whole thing, it was so amazing, and that experience alone can be a little thrilling, just being like, oh, about to watch the next one.
But I mean, I see now on the title, this was their idea: 3 movies, 3 weeks, one killer story. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a cool marketing ploy, and especially for this type of movie, a slasher. There's not a lot of weight to it, but it's fun. It's I'm sure there's a pretty good storyline involved. I love that they're skipping time era. I love era, or timepieces or whatever you call it.
I
So
tell you,
I'm totally ready for this, and I'm this is definitely like top on my list right now. So I'm checking it out soon.
well, I'll tell you what they're doing with it, and it's one thing that I think is great, and I think by the advertisements, it's pretty clear, which is, to me, I like anything. I can enjoy any approach to anything if you tell me that's what I'm going for.
Right.
If you're like, look, this is what we're going to go for. This is this is the sort of tone we're trying to achieve. We're not trying to achieve Rob Zombie tone. We're not trying to
Right.
achieve the tone of the Exorcist film. We're trying to have a little fun, and
Mm-hmm.
it shows in the trailer. You know what to expect, and they achieve that very well. You know what I'm saying? I don't like it when something ends up lighthearted, and like that's kind of why I was on the fence with the Conjuring movies for so long. Now I enjoy them, but
Yeah.
they aren't really that scary, and they're painted to be so scary, but they're just
Yeah.
not that scary.
Yeah. I'm so with you on that with Conjuring as well. It's more of a thriller really to me than it is horror. Horror's got to have something more to it than those Conjuring movies have, in my opinion.
Well, so what I think you're going to enjoy about this, and what's so far what I'm seeing them do, and they're getting right, and it's like, all right, you guys I see what you're going for here, and it's working. Is the first movie, which was, and I'll show a little picture of that one. The first movie, which was 1994, I mean, straight up homage to like Scream,
Mhm.
that whole time of horror films, which Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer didn't come out until like 96, 97 ish.
Yeah.
So it was more like mid to late 90s, but still that time, if there was a scary movie coming out in the 90s, it had a 90s vibe to it. Scream and
Yeah.
I Know What You Did Last Summer just made them abundant again, just like made it like, all right, here we go, we're gonna have a bunch of them horror movies again, whereas they were very spare in the early 90s. But
Right.
I really like that this one has that 90s feel. The second one, which was 1978, and I didn't have a good shot of that one a whole lot. That one has definitely got more of the camp slasher vibe. So you've got sort of this house, high school thing going on in the first one. And the second one is in the 70s. You've got that summer camp. It's got the slasher vibe.
Yeah.
It feels like Friday the 13th part one felt. Just even so much the part to where like they're showing shots of a lake and it's at nighttime, and it's like, well, that looks like Friday the 13th. And then you get this music that's like, and it's like, is that the score? Like, it's like literally sounds almost, but they tried to do the same thing in the 1994 one with making some of the music even sound like Scream, so much so to where it's done by the same guy, Marco Beltrami.
I love that. It's like an homage to all of our classics, and they're appealing to a certain group of people, and that's us, horror fans. We
Oh,
see these things. Yeah, if if you're a kid, let's say you're born in, let's say you're 18 right now. You were born in 2002, man. Can you imagine like your view of horror or your view of, like that's why it's generational to me. And
it is.
I hope this is an homage to us who've watched the horrors and the Freddy Kruegers and, Nightmare on Elm Streets, whatever it is, that we can catch those things, but also grasps the new fan base, that's what I'm hoping that these movies are pulling off.
They are. They definitely are pulling it off.
Pleasing
And
both
so,
fans, the new fans, they obviously want to catch new people into this type of horror, this type of genre, but also, throw some Easter eggs in there, like you said, like that we kind of pick up on that if these kids have never seen a Friday the 13th movie, they're not going to know.
there's nothing there for them. But at the same time, they do a good job at making it relevant with, some LGBTQ stuff. And
Mhm.
they try to make it more modern in that sense, as far as the way people want to view things. It's going to people in that community are going to be very happy that they're highlighting that type of stuff. So it is trying to keep up to date in the social climate while being all in the back. But what I'm excited about is this third one looks to be them actually trying to make a scary horror film. Like, so it's
Right.
feeling like the first one was an homage to the sort of 90s horror. The second one was sort of an homage to that late 70s, 80s horror. And then this one, it seems like they're trying to scare you. It doesn't
Yeah.
seem like they're trying to like conjure up nostalgia a whole lot. This one, it's like the finale and it's all connected. A lot of the same actors are floating and doing different things now. And this one takes place in the past. So everybody from the first two films, it looks like, are all in this trailer as different characters. This one looks like it's actually going to be a movie that might be like, damn. Whereas the first two are like, oh yeah, you know what I mean? So
It's titled 1666. You immediately go to the Salem witch kind of era.
oh, it
And
is, and they're not hiding from that. That's a part of the plot line, kind of all the plot is very intertwining too. So much to where you thought that the movies are just going to take place in a certain time, which they do, but the characters from '94 are in both movies, if that
yeah,
makes sense. But they're
yeah,
not. It carries on, like you see the '94 timeline in the second one for a minute, and then so
yeah,
it's all very cohesive, and I'm excited to see what you think about it. I just wanted to kind of say some of that real quick about it.
yeah. I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot of that American Horror Story, take the same actors, change up the storyline or the time, and I enjoy those a lot. So I'm all over it. I can't wait to, like I said, I think I'm just going to wait for them all to come out and just binge them and get them all in.
Yeah, they're like an hour and 45, hour and 50
Yeah.
a piece. And yeah, you'll have fun with it because I mean, I can see even rewatching them all three and binging them like that.
Right.
Speaking of American Horror Story, real quick, just have you heard about American Horror Stories?
What the newest one, or what are we talking?
No. So you have the newest one coming out called Double Feature,
Yeah.
which is going to be two story arcs in the same season, both in the same city, both taking place at the same kind of, but they're just like one's over here on this side, one's over here on this side.
Okay.
Cool little thing. I like it. It's kind of like grindhousey or something.
Yeah.
But no, they just released a trailer a few days ago of American Horror Stories. And
A
it's
film or TV?
a TV show, but it's
Okay.
an anthology. So even some of the same
Oh,
actors are going to be in it, but all the episodes are one shots.
really?
Yeah. So the trailer looks great, man. I mean, and I'm
Oh,
all about that. I love a good anthology. Some of them
yeah.
are great, some of them suck, but
Right.
when it's done well, it's cool, you know?
Yeah. I'm going to check that out the second we get off. That excites me.
Yeah, that trailer looks really cool. I'd say, if you can try to check out that one and the Blood Red Sky, dude, both of those trailers I was really like, oh shit, here we go. So you've seen all of Loki?
I have. I caught up on Loki, man.
Good. All right.
Loving
then
it.
we can talk about this a little bit.
Yeah.
And this will kind of lead us into the upcoming stuff and then Black Widow.
Yeah.
So are you satisfied? Is it like, for me, episode 3 is the filler episode. I felt like, where it was like, all right, it was cool. I get it. I mean, I get you want to explain their characters and all that and their relationship, but it was the kind of one where I was like, all right, it's about to be over episode. Whereas all the other ones, I was really into it. Do you have any theories? What do you think?
I mean, I try not to get too into theories I love this, crocodile Loki truck, whatever they want to call him. I thought that was a fun little thing to play
Hilarious.
with. I mean, it's funny as hell.
Richard Grant, you know, Hugh Grant's brother being in it. That's crazy.
Yeah. But you know, I've really enjoyed it. It's really well done. I'm such a huge fan of Tom Hiddlesworth and Owen Wilson, man. He kind of like he's so good in this.
It's
I
like
don't
his
know.
best acting job.
I know, and I'm sitting there looking at him, and I'm like, and it's been a while since he's been on something. To me, I feel like he kind of took a step back for a little while.
He had some indie films here and there, but that was also even like 5-6 years ago.
Yeah, and the Wilson brothers are known for that. They'll kind of disappear for a little while or come back, or I like those guys. They're kind of unique guys. And
when you say that, because Luke's got that new movie about that Texas football team coming out.
Yeah, I did see that, and I said the same thing about him. I was like, I hadn't seen him in anything in a minute. But you know, they're still acting. You know, they're still out there. But Owen Wilson was, to me, the kind of the gem of this show so far. I really like his character. I like I said, I like his acting in this, and it's a fun little show. You know, it's got so much stuff in it, like that are packed in there, those Easter eggs and stuff. If you're a true Marvel fan, that you can realize and chew on. But yeah, I'm really enjoyed it. I mean, how many more? They talked about how many more seasons they're doing, or how many more episodes we're going to have of this?
I think it's just one more episode. I'm pretty sure it's only 6 episodes.
Okay.
And I'm almost positive that all of these seasons are just one-shot seasons.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think that there's a season 2 of WandaVision. I don't think there's a second Falcon Winter Soldier. I think what these are doing is changing things for the characters that do something for something major in a film. So like the next time we see Sam, it's going to be him as Captain America in a movie. The next time we see Wanda is going to be her and Doctor Strange as kind of almost evil Wanda now. You know what I'm saying? But these shows led up to stuff that they can handle bigger. That's, to me, what they're doing with the shows is they're getting characters to a point of where they need to be in their own personal arcs to implement them in a bigger storyline.
And I love that idea, because a lot of true fans are going to want more, but there's so much out there now. You know, like I said, if this is a standalone Loki series or season and they move on from it, great, because I don't want them to overdo these things. You know, if there was 2, 3, 5 seasons of these shows plus all the movies coming out, it's just too much for me. You know, I like that idea of let's tell a little mini story that leads into the big blockbuster. I'm definitely going to go see Doctor Strange. Can't wait for that one. So I'm kind of happy that this is the route they're taking. You know.
Yeah, and I think that you're going to have just these ways to care about the characters more, because let's face it, before WandaVision, don't get me wrong, I'm a fanboy, so I love the fact that Vision's in there and Wanda's there. I know who they are, and I love them. But in the film M.C.U, you didn't get the attachment to them like you had to Tony, to Steve, all that stuff. And with them, you do get that attachment now. Like, I feel like I have this huge attachment to Wanda and Vision after watching that show that I didn't have before. And the same thing with Falcon and Bucky, or Sam and Bucky. And I mean, I definitely had a relationship for Bucky, but not for Sam. Now I definitely know who Sam is more as a character in the MCU. And I think they're doing the same thing with Loki. We've seen Loki a lot, but we've never seen this soft side of him before. We've seen him maybe regret doing something. We've seen him show love to his brother and show like, all right, I love you and all that. But we've never seen him being like, maybe I've lived the wrong life. And they show that in this, and I love that.
Yeah, there's a lot of emotion in this, like you said. And Loki was always kind of that, you know, I don't want to say side character, but really he was. I mean, and now you're getting some depth to him and some heart and emotion out of him that hopefully will tie into some type of movie in the future. And you can look back and go, now I know why I watched 6, episodes of Loki. It makes sense.
Well, who knows? We might even have Loki as truly a good guy for a little while.
Yeah.
That could be something there. I'm not saying that'll happen, but I mean, the Thor movies aren't stopping. Loki.
Yeah, but if you're a comic book fan, Loki's always got a plan, man. If they make him a good guy, I'm like,
mischievous good guy.
Yeah, like he's always gonna backstab you somehow. He's never gonna. To me, he can never be like a good guy,
So no, I agree with you. I mean, that is who Loki is. It's kind of like Venom. I mean, Venom is a good guy for a little while, but he is also Venom. It's Eddie Brock, and Eddie Brock is a kind of a piece of shit in the comics.
Yeah.
So, do you remember me talking about on Do you remember me talking about the Kang theories that I had for Loki at all? Or did we
No,
talk about this?
no, I don't think so.
So I didn't come up with this theory, but I subscribed to it a little bit as soon as I heard about it. But excuse me. So do you remember in when they're showing the timekeepers, and now that we've seen in Loki that the timekeepers that they showed those cyborgs.
Yeah.
But obviously those aren't the timekeepers. Those were just
Right.
the turrets. They focus. You ever notice when they're zooming in on the statues of the timekeepers, or they're in with the girl who's the leader? I can't ever remember her name. Who's Owen's boss? When they're in her office and they're showing like the statues. If you notice, they're focusing more on the center statue every time. Anytime they're like zooming in on the statues, they never really show the other two's faces up close. They do sometimes, but not like they do that center one. That center one, they really show it.
Yeah.
And there's somebody a while back, like after the first or second episode, that had released a theory somewhere and said, I think that there's a possibility that one of the timekeepers could be Kang the Conqueror.
Wow.
Conqueror is the villain in the upcoming Ant-Man movie, Quantumania.
Yeah.
And he's a time traveling conqueror. That's what Kang does, is go back and forth and conquer shit. So and Kang is also somebody that could be next level big threat, like next level. He could be the next Thanos, or he could be the next like pre-Thanos or whatever, the one that's almost big enough. But my point I'm trying to make is that I thought that was a good idea. I was like, it makes sense, it's clever, and it's not cheesy, it's cool. So,
and you said, he's big enough to take the big shoes of Thanos, because that's my main concern right now is who's the next big villain now? Like who? Because to me, I've always said this: the villains are just as important as the heroes in all these films. If it has a really good villain, it's going to be a really good movie. If the villain's so-so, it's usually a so-so movie. So I think you're right. That would be great to install him into this series, or the next big bad guy. You know,
and he's definitely going to be in there. And they've already got the actor and everything. And the thing is that actor looks kind of like him. That statue, like there's similarities there. So I was getting online today, looking at some stuff, and so this is what I found. So the MCU theory started in Homecoming. So right there, so Jonathan Majors is this guy who's playing Kang.
Yeah.
Right there, I think that they maybe talk about mentioning something, and they mentioned that the Stark building had been sold. All right.
Okay.
And they mentioned that either in Homecoming or in Far From Home. I think it was Far From Home. They revealed that someone bought the Avengers Tower. Right here is what they're saying.
Okay.
And I'm just kind of scrolling through all this. I don't want to stay on there long.
Right.
But in the comic books, and this is for real, in the comic books, there's an enterprise called Kang Enterprise, but it's spelled with a Q.
Yeah, I see that. Qung, huh?
So look at this.
Oh.
They showed the dystopian world in Loki.
Wow, dude, I love all these tie-ins, man.
Yeah, I do too. So that's got me really giddy. And now I'm just like, dude, if they do something like that, I don't even care that I don't know as much about Kang as I do, let's say, Red Skull or any of these other crazy villains. But or Thanos, but I do love the hints. The hints get me excited. The hints almost make me want to learn more about this character, because it's like they're doing it for a reason. So yeah, I just had to point that out.
That shows how much passion that these Marvel studios have for this, and putting all this stuff, all this information in. That takes a lot of effort, and that takes a lot of research, and to know your stuff. That's what gets us true nerds and geeks excited. That's what they need to be doing, and they're doing it so well.
I've always said that Marvel, the reason they're able to do that stuff and they implement all that stuff that's so nerdy is because Marvel Studios was started by Marvel Comics, by fans.
Yep.
And it's nothing but fans working there. Kevin Feige is a big nerd. I mean, look, he still wears his hat with a suit, and DC, Disney, when Disney bought Marvel, their whole thing is like, we are buying this studio so we can make money off of the characters they're doing a great job doing this with.
Yep.
We literally are just giving them more money to play with. We're not coming in and trying to be like, yeah, they're going to be like, you can't do this, you can't show nudity, things like that. But they weren't wanting to do that anyways. They're making Marvel movies.
Right.
So Disney bought Marvel and just has allowed them to create what they want. They gave them a huge sandbox. DC has always been owned by Warner Brothers. Always. Warner Brothers bought DC the movie rights to DC Comics a long time ago. That's why you've always had Batman rides at Six Flags and all that stuff.
Yep.
But Warner Brothers bought the rights to comic stuff. There's no fans making these movies. It's all studio execs, and that's why they keep on messing up, man.
Yeah, you nailed it. I mean, these little Easter eggs and the amount of information and the amount of effort put into these movies, real fans appreciate the hell out of that. Especially with what you see coming out of DC, it's proof is in the pudding, man. I mean, if you got true fans making stuff, Mandalorian with Favreau and just these amazing content coming out, and then you see the disaster, in my opinion. I hate to say it because I love my boy Batman so much, but most of the crap that it came out with Justice League was just bad.
It's not up to
certain
par.
aspects of it.
I mean, when you got Nolan making that trilogy, that's just like, damn.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot to live up to, yes, but it can be done. I mean, you just have to go and do something that there's so many levels of comic book enjoyment as far as tone. There's so many tones of Batman that you can approach it with, as long as it's still like a few things. You know what I mean? As long as you have like the 5 key ingredients, you can go this route with it. You can go this route with it. Hell, I love watching the Adam West stuff for its own reason.
Yeah.
But they were also very self-aware with that. They weren't trying to, I mean, they knew what they were doing.
That's the colors and the campiness of that. That's its own thing, and it's great. But yeah, I mean, I just hope DC can catch. I don't think, I hate to say this, but they may not ever catch up to Marvel because of what Marvel's doing. It's just so far ahead.
You know, I think they'd be smart to just not try to catch up. Just understand that you do have valuable characters on your hands and do something great with them. And
I think that's what they need to do. And I think that's what they're going to do with this, Robert Pattinson role is, okay, we can't be Marvel. We're not going to be owned by Disney and do campy, cheesy stuff, but go dark, go a little bit more adult, go a little bit more. Cause Batman is a dark character. I mean, he's the Dark Knight. I feel like I don't really want an Adam West Batman anymore. I kind of want to keep it adult and all that. But, yeah, it's just, I just want DC to put out some good content in the next few years.
Yeah, I definitely think that they have some opportunities coming up. I enjoyed Shazam more than a lot of the other stuff because it was newer and different. It did kind of speak to the silliness of the character, but also made you sort of like appreciate it in a weird way. It just worked for me. The movie,
it was fun. It was kind of their take on let's do more of a Marvel-esque kind of style and not take it so seriously, have a fun character. And I liked it a lot. I thought it was great.
As much as I like Snyder's ideas and vision, I wish that Snyder's stuff he would have created would just have been his own little world. Like the way the Pattinson movies are going to be. Like if he would have just had like, look, we've got our DCEU that we're going to be doing, but Snyder, since you did, Man of Steel, you did it so well. Let's let you do your thing with that world, and you can make it R-rated. You can do it all, whatever, and it'll be Snyder's thing. If he could have done that, then there could be a place for all those films because it's an option. It's not the way.
Yeah.
But when they were trying to make all that the way, and I'll be the first to say it, I loved Batman versus Superman, but it was too dark to sell on a mass level like that. It should have been like, hey guys, we're making a dark ass Batman and we're going to make one that's not necessarily for the kids. It would have done better. It would have been accepted better, but it teased and fooled everybody. Because I'll be honest with you, I'm surprised that the Nolan films had as much child enjoyment.
Yeah.
And it had to be just because of the toys, because those movies are dark, man.
Yeah.
But it
I feel like
another universe. It was Nolan's thing, and it was contained into that.
They should have done a standalone Batman with Batfleck. That's Should have been. You got the Superman with Henry Cavill. Do a Batman standalone to get his character, a little bit of built up, and then do the Batman versus Superman. But we didn't get it.
It was all the wrong direction.
Yeah,
all the wrong direction.
But what I'm stoked for is Black Adam. That's coming up. Black Adam with The Rock. That's that Shazam world. That's the kind of same characters Shazam, but darker. And Rock. I enjoy most Rock movies. So I'm excited.
Just because he has some movies here and there, they're like, and for the most part, he's a top list in my book. I love him. Yep. I think he's charismatic. I think he's cool in real life.
Right.
All that stuff. No. So did I go see Skyscraper? No, I didn't.
I saw that one too.
It's too diehardish for me. So I was like, nah. But for the most part, like I'll see Jungle Cruise. I probably won't see it in the theater, but I watch it on Disney Plus because I like him.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's such a big Jungle Cruise. I mean, and it's kind of one of Disney's, that's like OG Disney. So I'll check it out for sure.
Yeah, I mean, in Disney, I don't know if you knew this, but like the way for a while there, Universal Studios was doing a really good job at outselling Disney as a park. Like Universal Studio was just banking because their rides were amazing and they were making these awesome rides off of their big top-notch movies. Well, Disney just had all these classic rides. So Disney started making movies off of their rides. So you have Haunted Mansion, Pirates of the Caribbean, all that stuff. And now Jungle Cruise, which is one of their original rides. They're doing that. So, we'll see how it turns out. I think it's funny to see everybody banking off of someone else's success somehow,
Right.
Since we're just talking about, then we're about to get into our Black Widow review, and we started talking about DC, but we were talking about Loki. And I am curious to see real fast. Are you excited about this one?
Yeah, I am.
Second trailer looks a lot better.
It's got a martial arts tie-in. I love martial art movies. To me, it's new. I know this has been a comic book, but to me, it's kind of a newer
chapter. Character. He hadn't been around for terribly long, from what I understand.
And I know it's going to tie into something cool because that's what Marvel does. So yeah, I'm really stoked about this one.
The second trailer to me looks like the first trailer. It looked cool, but there was a lot of comic relief in it. The second trailer shows more of the severity of what's going on in the movie, which we saw that in Black Widow. And I was so hoping to get a No Way Home trailer in Black Widow.
I know. Man. Everybody wants the No Way Home trailer. Bring it to us.
Man, I'm sorry. Can you hear this out there? Can you hear that at all? This dumpster guy he's been doing it for like 20 minutes. It's like, I feel like the dumpster's stuck on his forks or something. Like the dumpster truck.
No, I don't hear it.
It's just banging like crazy. It's hard for me to concentrate. It's like, dude, what are you doing? But anyways, I do feel like that No Way Home trailer is something that we should have gotten, but maybe they don't have one yet. But I mean, it's in December. It's like, it's summer. We need a trailer. Yeah,
I think it's going to come out in the next month. It's because if it's in December, that's about what they do. They start a few months back. You'll get a teaser, you'll get something, and then you get a real trailer, and then you get one more usually. So.
And used to, they would wait for putting it in front of movies.
Yeah.
But now with the internet and YouTube and everything, there's a release for the trailer straight up.
For sure.
So we've got 10 Rings, Shang-Chi, Legend of the 10 Rings. No Way Home is coming out later, but this one, well, real quick, I'll show the shot of some of this fan art I got of No Way Home. Somebody put this together. Thought that's kind of good.
Oh, that's cool.
Got Keaton, McGuire, Garfield, and I didn't. It's obviously cut off. It was like a long poster that somebody made. Yeah. But then this one, I got this one as well. This one's pretty cool. Again, another Spider-Man one. So, see
that's cool.
Spider-Man, and if you look closely at the different suits.
Yep. I mean, how cool is this that we're getting all three Spideys in one movie? I never would have guessed that,
I mean, I don't know if it's going to be. I personally don't expect to have these three guys like in the movie the whole time dealing. I think that something's going to happen and we'll have a moment, a zip in the movie for maybe a 5-10 minute segment where it's like things are wacky and whatever. And there's this interactions and whatever, or something that happens to where the bad guys from the different universes get sucked over and then it's locks. You know what I mean? And I don't think that we're just going to have a, the whole time just
I'm
like,
the same way. I mean, Doc Ock's not going to be in it a lot, and all these villains, everybody they're bringing back, it's just going to be maybe something larger than a cameo, but still cool. I mean,
I kind of feel like they're leaning towards the Sinister Six somehow.
yeah, that would be sweet.
So, I mean, I wouldn't mind if, I kind of feel like we might see like a big fight or something at the end of it all happening, but I don't think that we're going to have a Spider-Man movie, but with like an Avengers type cat, like where like Captain America 3 was basically an Avengers movie. You had just a ton of A-listers. Like, I don't think we're going to have that. We'll have that, but just for a minute,
Right.
But I'm just stoked to see what's going to happen because Doctor Strange and all that. I mean, they have like vocally been very big about this is connecting. This is all connecting, like big and specifically tying into this film. So the one that to me that I'm really just like, obviously I'm super excited to see No Way Home because it's Spider-Man. It's tying up a trilogy, and leading into something else. But I'm really pumped about this.
Yeah, the Eternals. To me, there's a lot of mystery behind this because I'm not really up to date on the comics.
There's not a whole lot to be up to date on, man.
Yeah, it's super intriguing to me because of how it's in the beginning. This is the beginning of all this, and I love origin stories and why is all this here now and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, this one's got my attention by big time.
Well, and this is Jack Kirby, who's a god in the comic book world, is responsible for this. And this is based off the 12-issue miniseries, original one. And I think there's only one other miniseries. I think there's only 2 Eternals miniseries. So a lot of people like, oh, it's just another thing to get caught up on. It's like actually not hard to get caught up on this. It's not like Spider-Man that's been going on for decades. This was an implementation of the lore of Marvel. You know what I mean?
Right.
Something to really juice up the lore that was already there, which I'm stoked about. The comic book itself was very highbrow, if that makes any sense. Very
like adult?
Elegant.
Is it just adult or is it just?
It's just the concepts of it all. It's like, I do think that there will be some kids that can enjoy it, obviously, but this isn't trying to like, they're going to sell some toys because they always do, but nobody's going to be wanting to have anybody's shield from this, or nobody's going to want to, the Iron Man. It's not that type of a movie. It's more of, it's just like I said, it's highbrow content. It's deep. It's gotten awards. The graphic novel's gotten, or the miniseries has gotten like, literary awards and stuff like that. So it's just, I'm really excited about that approach.
Yeah, I'm down for that kind of stuff too. Like I said, a Black Adam movie gets my attention, but so do these too. They're different.
I love them all, man. I can enjoy them all. Like I said, you just achieve what you're going for, and I'm cool with whatever.
Yeah, there you go.
Exactly. I've even gotten a soft spot in my heart for the Elektra movie.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
A very soft spot in my heart. It's not great, but it's because there are just moments of it that there are moments that they captured that are like, dude, this scene is awesome, but the movie's not that good.
Yeah, and that's talk about like a time capsule. I don't know. There's something about the look of that movie. I don't know if it's a CGI or what it is, but it's just like so early 2000s,
It's that Mark Steven Johnson, dude. That guy is a weird dude in Hollywood because he directed the first Ghost Rider, which I think is better than most people give it credit for. He produced the second one, but didn't direct it. Again, I think it's better than most people give it credit for. Neither of them are awesome movies, but he also directed Daredevil. He produced Elektra. He's got a weird, like, wannabe rock and roll vision that he tries to put in his movies, but it's also too poppy. And it's very, what you said is there. You're right, dude. It's got this dated in that time feel. And it's all because of him, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. A lot of these guys put their signature on stuff.
And he was supposed to be for a moment there, and then getting into some like Marvel, like actual studio type stuff. Are you familiar with Avi Arad?
No.
So Avi Arad was the Kevin Feige before Kevin Feige.
Okay.
When Marvel movies were licensed out to other deals, like X-Men was licensed out to 20th Century Fox. Spider-Man was and still is Sony and Columbia TriStar. but it always had Avi Arad as sort of the executive producer of, and he's still in charge of a lot of stuff, but he's under Kevin Feige now, whereas Kevin Feige used to be under him. And they call him Crazy Uncle Avi because he's made some good, he's kind of put out some good films again as a producer, but he's also done some really crazy stuff and made some really bad mistakes. Like he meddled too much. He's the reason Spider-Man 3 is what it is.
Yeah.
He's the one that said we need Venom. But before then, he just let Sam Raimi do his thing. But in part 3, he's like, we need Venom. Do whatever you're doing, but put Venom in there. And then he screwed it up. Well, he's like, Avi's done now, and Kevin's in charge of everything, obviously, and he's the greatest there's ever been. But Avi has still got some control in some of the areas. And to be honest, what we were just talking about, I was talking about Crazy Uncle Avi, and I was leading up to something. It was somebody with a Marvel character with him, but oh man, now that's terrible.
It's all right. Brain farts happen.
Yeah, that was a crazy brain fart. I just lost, but I just had it up here. Oh yeah, we were talking about the Eternals.
Yeah,
and he definitely would have never let anything like this happen. But I think that he was trying to pull stuff together like the Sinister Six movie. Like he was responsible for the Amazing Spider-Man movies.
Yeah.
And he was responsible for the decline in that and the way that went down on that. The first one was good, but the second one not so good. But now that they've kicked him out, all these things were trying to be made. Like Eternals, they had been wanting to make it for a long time as a standalone film, but he was just like, no, like that's stupid. That's a ridiculous story. Nobody's ever going to want to put that out there. Who cares about that? There's no superhero quality. He was telling people Iron Man wasn't going to be a success because nobody likes, because when Iron Man came out, it was a under the radar character. Yes, he was big, but he was kind of forgotten about. It was more about Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, X-Men. But yeah, it's just funny how like take Avi out of it, put Kevin in there, and now we're getting, it took a little minute, but now those producers have shown people, look, you like these characters. You just don't know you like them.
Yeah.
Hollywood is showing you don't like them and told you don't like them, but we're going to allow you to see these guys. And so I think seeing Eternals come out like that, man, it's just going to be I think a game changer. And it's directed by Chloe Zhao, the same person who did that Homeland movie.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm excited. And these are all super, I mean, some of the best writing is comic books, in my opinion, of all time. This just, they are interesting characters. They will grab your attention. It's just, you got to get Hollywood and these producers to back you up and get it made.
Do it the right way.
Yep.
Well, with that being said, let's finish this off with our Black Widow talk, man.
Yeah, man.
We both saw Black Widow this weekend, and overall, I'm not asking you, I'm saying just first off, did you like it or not?
I did. I liked it. It didn't really throw me too many curveball. There's a little bit, like I said, there's some spoilers being talked later, but it was exactly what I was expecting. It was much more of a, like you said, a spy thriller, a Mission Impossible kind of feel, which I enjoy. Definitely, I love those movies. I go to see every Bond, every Mission Impossible, so I enjoyed the hell out of it. But the average fan, a Marvel movie, they might want to see more of that, like you said, that superhero giddiness, the powers, the more epic stuff going on than what you got with this movie.
Yeah. And I guess you're referring to some of the stuff I had said in my review.
Yep.
I think that it's the giddiness and all that. It wasn't there in the theater. However, I do think this is a movie that, and I do feel this way about most movies, actually. I think movies are better down the road.
Yeah.
Even if they're amazing when you see them, I think most movies are better down the road. Now, there are some movies that really get bad down the road. You know, like it's like, man, this was good when it first came out. But most of the time, those are movies that are jumping on a trend, movies that are doing something because it's a hot topic, you know, like all the zombie movies that were coming out or all that, you know, like all that stuff. But I do think that this one, give it, even rewatching it on Blu-ray, I think, you know, in a different setting in your house, have some time to maybe, you know, you're not like, it's the new Marvel movie when you're like, oh, I'm gonna rewatch Black Widow. I think there is a lot of depth to the film. It is a character driven movie
Yeah.
for sure. A lot of emotional moments, and I think we really haven't seen that in Marvel yet as far as a film. We haven't gotten this type of movie, which because of that, I'm satisfied with it. I was happy with it.
Yeah. I mean, it was Scarlett Johansson's swan song with this characters that she's been for a long time. And now they're building up Florence Pugh, who is phenomenal. I mean, I love this actress. She can take the torch and keep going, which is what
Yeah.
they're planning on doing. And she kind of blew me away. I mean, I love her. I loved her. I loved her in this film. I thought this was kind of the main focal point was bringing her into the mix and continuing on. So she did a really good job. I'm excited about the future of her character and where they're going to go with it.
Yeah, she was great in it, man. She's a cute little thing, man. She's a tiny little thing. You know, she's just it's funny. She's a little munchkin, but she's a cute little munchkin. But a great actress. I mean, I knew who she was, but I'd never seen her act until I saw Midsummer, and then I was like, oh, this girl can act.
Yeah.
And then once I found out she was going to be in the MCU, I was like, that makes sense. The one thing that bothered me about her, and I think I said this in my review, is that I felt like that they tried to shoehorn her comic relief in. Like I liked it.
Yeah.
But then when they started doing it like every 5-10 minutes, it was like, we get it. Like,
yeah. All right. We get it.
The joke's not as cool
Yeah.
anymore, but I don't think that was her fault. I think that's just editing and directing choice. She was just doing what they were telling her to do.
You know, I'm a big David Harbour fan, so I remember seeing the trailer for this. God, how long has it been? Just like another thing you said, it was just the anticipation was kind of over, the hype of it. To me, I was like, okay, it's here. Let's go watch. But if it would have came out obviously a year ago, I think the hype train would have been a little bit bigger. Because like I said, I love David Harbour, Red Guardian. I think I mean, everything you said, I agreed with in your review. Wish there was more of him. I wish there was more Red Guardian and more humor of him in the film.
I could just he's just like David Harbour on screen is like my favorite milkshake, and just give me a straw. Like I suck it up every time he's on screen, dude. I love that dude.
He's a scene stealer. He's just, you know, he's one of those guys where when he's in a scene, like I'm always like watching him. I don't really, you know, whatever else is going on is fine, but I'm always like, all right, this guy he's just got that charisma. He's got something about him that I love. And
me too, man.
I just wanted more of him.
Yeah. And you know, I know that it wasn't his movie, and from what I understand, he does have a contract. He has multiple film contract with Marvel.
Yeah.
And well, you know, let me, before I get to that, just talking about a few more things about the movie. I definitely feel like this was more of Scarlett's acting job, is best acting job she's done in the MCU, but all the other movies didn't really give her a whole lot of time to have acting moments. They were so action filled. This one had a lot of action in it, and it had enough action. It wasn't that I was bored in the movie, but it was, like I said, with the hammer thing, you know, with Captain America, there were never any moments in it that just were like, I think it could have had at least one moment that like really gave you the chills, where it's like, but it didn't. And again, that's fine that it didn't. I think that's why I gave it a B+ and not an A. It's because there wasn't that. It could have just even been a 5-second, but if you build me up and you give me to that moment of, you know, like, ooh, and just give me 5 seconds of it, then to me, you brought me to a place then I can't even come down. Then I'm just like excited for a minute watching everything. And I wish it would have got to that point. That being said, wasn't bad at all. It was great, man. I enjoyed the action. I thought the story was really cool. I liked that villain. I wasn't expecting him to be the main guy, but I liked like they portrayed him as being just shit.
Yeah, Taskmaster was a cool villain, and there's the twist at the end.
I'm talking about the guy with the glasses, like the actual him being the main. Like I just like the fact that it was just like, what a slime, man.
Yeah. Yeah, the first 15-20 minutes of it was amazing. I mean, I really enjoyed the opening scene and the intro. And then, you know, it's not that it died off or tapered off, but the beginning really got me. Whoa, okay. And then it was a little bit, you know, more even keel throughout the film. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I just wish, in my opinion, it would have came out like right after Winter Soldier. It would have been perfectly timed. The storyline, everything about it would have fit perfectly. I'm just glad she got her standalone film. I mean, she deserved it. And this is it. Like even she said, this is like there is no more Black Widow after this. So,
which is great. I want them to end that character. I'm tired of it being the Marvel fake dead universe. You know,
I'm the same way. I mean, these characters do need an ending, a finale, something to send them off, because there's endless characters in this world. Just do it right. Like I feel like they did this one right. It was like I said, I just wish the timing of it in the Marvel Cinematic Universe was where it should have been. You know, because it's already, there's some skew in there, and they're time traveling now, and it's confusing to some casual fans for sure what's going on.
It will, you know, and if you watch the movie, and that's the thing, if you haven't seen Civil War, which you should, if you haven't, if you like, to me, Civil War, there's a handful of movies in the Marvel universe that it's like you don't have to watch that one, but like Civil War is one you have to watch because they talk about the Sokovia Accords throughout the whole thing, you know. Like it's such major things happen in that movie, you have to watch it. And honestly, I think Winter Soldier as well. And this one, they had all that stuff that connected to it, and they talk about the Sokovia Accords and everything. But if you hadn't seen Civil War, you might not understand why she's on the run. You might not get this whole thing, and you might not. Well, even then, if you don't know what's really going on, the whole jet she gets at the end, that doesn't make any sense, or it doesn't matter to you. Like for us, it's like, oh, that's cool. That's the jet that her and Cap had later. And it's like, oh, that's sweet. But if you don't really know, that doesn't matter to you. So I think that they were trying to do some things in this movie that let's try to connect this fabric more with some things like the jet, and let's have General Ross in there, which, I mean, it needed to happen. That was cool. But he was only in there to show that she was on the run. He had no other purpose in the film.
Yep. What do you think about the end credits? You want to talk
that was going to be my next thing I wanted to talk about is, well, do you know anything about the Hawkeye series?
I know we're going to get one, but what are like details about it? I don't know.
Well, she's part of the cast.
Okay. Yeah, of course. I mean, and that's what you get. I mean, for people that haven't seen it, I hope we're not spoiling. I mean, we are spoiling here, but if you have seen it, we can talk about it. I thought that was cool. You know, I thought it was that is going to dive in, and you're going to get answers in the Hawkeye series. She's going to try to hunt this guy and take him down, but obviously, we know that that's not the reason why she's dead.
And see what I was saying about Loki series and Falcon's Winter Soldier series and Wanda and all that stuff. I think what they're going to do now with her character, we know her character, but we only know her as Wanda's, Natasha's sister, and we only know her in this situation.
Right.
We don't know, and we know about her childhood, but only that specific part of her childhood. We don't really know all the other things. We don't have anything that happened between Natasha's death and now. We don't see what happened with her there. So I think they're going to have her in the Hawkeye series. We're going to get to know her character all like crazy, and something's going to happen to that with her character to a certain place that can be implemented into a bigger film, you know? So she's definitely she's a fan favorite. Everybody loves her. Like girls and guys are all like, yeah, she's awesome. So she's going to be in it. But the fact that the Valentina is talking to her at the grave
and I love Julia Louis-Dreyfus. I love her, and I love this little character she's playing throughout all.
Perfect for her.
You know, she's kind of taken over Samuel L. Jackson's role pretty much, and the excitement of Ronin. I mean, the Ronin version of Hawkeye to me is super exciting. I love that whole character, that storyline.
Me too.
And I think that show's got me pretty excited actually, because Hawkeye, he's a cool character, but when you put him in the whole entire Avengers mix, it's like he's way down the list for me, you know. But to do his own standalone show and it be the Ronin version of him, which is a lot more dark and gritty.
There's more to the character. It's more. It's like if Batman was a jokester.
Yeah,
he was just like cool with gadgets, it wouldn't be fun. But the fact that he's got so much pain behind him makes it work now. And that's Ronin's got a lot of pain now behind him.
Oh yeah.
Well, you know, not as much because you know he got his family back and everything like that. But he still lost Natasha, you know, so he's pissed.
There's something there for sure.
And you know that Valentina was supposed to be there. You were supposed to see her in this movie first because this movie was supposed to be released before Falcon Winter Soldier initially.
Yeah, that makes sense.
She was supposed to be seen first before that, but I think that she's kind of like recruiting a bunch of people, and I don't know if it's going to be the new Avengers or if it's going to be the Thunderbolts, because the Thunderbolts is the thing by General Ross where it's like Red Hulk and stuff like that. I mean, we got so much stuff happening. Who knows?
And I thought it was cool. Their little back and forth. You can tell they've been working together a long time. Her and Yelena, have, don't, why, this is my vacation time.
My vacation. What are you talking to me for?
Yeah. And, I wanted to personally hand you this one because of the weight to it. And, there's just that buildup, which I love.
And I just thought and I'm trying to see now, it's like, all right, without even just with her introduction into Falcon Winter Soldier and into the Black Widow, now I'm like, what the hell is she up to?
Yeah.
Because she's obviously recruiting people.
Right.
Recruiting John. Now she's recruiting John Walker. Now she's recruiting Yelena. So it's like, all right, who are you doing this for? And what are you up to? And what team are you actually creating? So we're going to get something really awesome. I know that it's going to be all leading up to something great.
Yeah.
Side note, I just hope that we don't lose Spider-Man. I don't think we will. I think Disney and Sony understand that they have something that works and they need to just keep it going.
I don't think Spidey's going anywhere. I think we'll be okay.
Tom Holland's not. I'm just talking about Spidey in the MCU, but I don't think he is. I think at this point they understand that this is what the fans want and they need to do it. I think that just what they do now is just sign it like 3-movie contract, and then we'll renegotiate when the time comes, because who knows, who's bigger and who's smaller at that point. So they have to just do small time ones. But we do know that Spider-Man is going to be in Doctor Strange because
I can't wait. Doctor Strange has probably got me the most intrigued right now. That's
me too.
I'm like, I can't wait.
Well, the fact that we're going to get, because Doctor Strange doesn't come out till next year, right?
Yeah, next year.
So the fact that we're having 3, and now I have to look at it. Maybe Homecoming came after. Did Homecoming come out after Doctor Strange? Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
So we've had a Spider-Man trilogy before Doctor Strange 2.
Yep.
It's
been a minute.
Yeah. So I'm ready for that new one, man. And I thought it was really well done. And it's Sam Raimi. Come on.
I know. If it's Raimi,
shit.
I'm that's a half the reason I'm as excited as I am, for sure.
Yeah.
But man, Black Widow. You gave Black Widow a B+. I'm going to give it a B-. I think it's right there. It's a solid, well done Marvel movie. Great film. Not nothing to blow me away though. No, it's not A status, but it's pretty good. I would recommend it to the casual fan for sure.
Hell yeah, man. I'd say as well. I think it belongs in the universe, and it definitely will be in my collection on Blu-ray.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm with you. So it's collective B. We'll give it a collective B.
There you go. That's a good grade,
That's it, dude. We went really long, but so thank you for your time, man. I really appreciate you.
Always love chatting with you, man. These Mondays are fun. I look forward to them. I'm going to catch up on Fear Street. I'm going to try to catch up on that. So hopefully by next week. Is it coming out this weekend?
Yeah, this weekend. Okay, so we might have the trilogy to talk about. Yeah,
I'm gonna. That'll be the main focal point of the show. I think if we can just talk all 3, that'd be great.
No, that'd be cool. We can just make it a trilogy Fear Street episode. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, and then I've got some plans on my podcast for October. We're gonna do like a whole. I haven't figured out a name, but I want all of October to be just all horror. I'm thinking
that's how I did it last October. I did it, and that's what I'm doing this year.
I kind of want to. I told Charlie, I was like, I kind of want to do the horror icons. I think the first week of October, I want to do Nightmare on Elm Street, and then we can do Friday the 13th the second week. His choice. I was going to let him choose his next icon, and then the 4th week, I wanted to go watch Halloween Kills live. So that'll be a fun month. I'm looking forward to it. It's coming around. I mean, it's coming up. We got to start planning this stuff.
So do we want to try to do me, you, and Charlie on Halloween Kills? Because we were talking about seeing that, right?
That'd be great. That'd be great to just kind of have a melding of shows. That'd be fun.
Yeah, that'd be cool. And then also, well, you know what, guys? Thank y'all. Sorry, we're talking about our schedule. So we'll check y'all later. And thank you for listening in. And hope to see you tomorrow. Peace.